Okay, let's get this show started. Greetings, everyone. My name is Milton Smith III, and you know what I look like. You don't need to see my face. I've got some things I need to do, so I'm off the camera right now. Okay. Now we're going to talk about a few things I've been milling over my mind, and do not like to be the one to say I told you so. I told you. I don't like to be that guy, but 2 years ago, there was a lot of people going to Africa. Actually, before then, 2019, they had this return, something about the return. People was going to Ghana, going to other places in Africa. Yeah, the day of return. And I told you, I said, man, that's a waste of money because you're not going to be able to stay there. You can't afford it. They said, what? Yeah, I know I can afford to live in Africa. They think Africa is cheap. They thought Africa was cheap because they don't have a higher standard of living as they do in the U.S. See, I've been there. And that's another thing. If you're going to go to a foreign country, you should have somebody you know there can invite you to people. If you go there and don't have anybody you can trust, you're not going to enjoy yourself at all because everybody's going to scam you. Take advantage. A better word would be take advantage of you. Take advantage of you not knowing the culture, not knowing the language. And these people, they're not rich. So when you open your mouth, your accent shows that you from a foreign place. They think you can afford whatever price they ask you. They say, what's the problem? You're rich because you come from a rich country. So plan your trips, have someone who can invite you to the community. People, that's the way you meet people, not by just going up and meeting people. You got to be invited, introduced. We got to get back to that. You got to be introduced to people. That's how you get to know the people. That's how you build trust. Okay, that's one I told you so. Another is getting off this government aid. Remember, when COVID, everybody was going to get that check. They was teaching you learn helplessness, meaning you become helpless because you become dependent on somebody else giving you a handout. You should get in the practice of saying no to anything free. Instead of going to get a handout, go get a job. See, with a job, you know what's coming in. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you anything. You can plan. Of course, those who know that a job is just over broke, you're going to start businesses. Everybody should be trying to start some kind of business, especially if you're going abroad. You don't go there and look for no job. They cannot afford to pay you what you're used to receiving. So now you learn that 90% of people who go to Africa come back within the next 2 years, disappointed. Sometimes they lose large sums of money because they didn't know the process of how to buy land. You don't just give your money to somebody. You got to vet people out. You got to know who you're speaking with. As I said, you got to be introduced to people. Someone introduce you, then somebody you can rely on because you have a common source of someone you can rely to. In other words, you have a common friend. You don't know who he's speaking to if they just come to you and start making deals with you. Another thing I want to talk about is, oh yeah, my channel. You know, the channel is going to get upgraded when the people come, start asking questions. When I get more, in other words, I spend as much time and energy with the program as you do. You have a lot of interest, a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and I spend more time here with you. So the channel got to build itself. In other words, you want me to get more sophisticated things on the channel, then you have to invest more time on the channel, asking more questions. Just show interest. Just show more interest. You build. This is your channel. You build it. Don't look for the content creator to do everything. I'm just getting it started. I'm getting it started. If it's going to be a community channel, then you have to put some input in. You know, that's how a lot of people build their channels are built because the people come in and assist them. Give them breaking news. They become part of the network. That's why I never ask for donations. Do you know what donation means? It means you giving someone funds they can use it as they please. No. If I ever ask for anything, it'll be contributions. Because when you contribute something, you can tell me what you want the money to be spent for. You see, this is not a public. We're not public, we're private. So if you want to, let's say you want to see more videos, more news, then you make a contribution for that. Then that can buy me time to do that research. I'm not doing it just for myself, I'm doing it for someone who have an interest in that. So learn how to utilize things as if you want part ownership in them. That's any place you go. If you shop at a certain store, why don't you buy some stock in that store? Since you already invested in it, get a return on the profits that you're contributing to. You find that type of living makes you very prosperous very quickly. Why would you spend money at a place that you have no interest in? The other thing I want to talk about is utilizing your time wisely. Because these things I've learned and I've stopped. You watch TV, you're going to be a very depressed soul. Nothing is on there to uplift you. Only thing you see is mostly crime, sex, all the vices. They magnified on TV. And it become so common. Do you know people are not even upset by murder anymore? People used to shriek in horror when someone was murdered. Now, they would take pictures. Yeah, they would spend their time taking pictures of it. That's it. So spend your time wisely. Oh yes, one important thing I need to speak about is AI. You know, when I started using AI, it was very interesting. They answered my questions. They did a lot of things. But then I found myself getting lazy. Anytime I wanted something, I asked AI. And then AI started getting lazy and wasting a lot of time to get the right response. But when I talk to it like it's a person. In other words, when I got a response that was Eurocentric, I told AI, I said, this is Eurocentric. No, I want something that's not so much influenced by European thought. And they go back and do it. So you have to know how to talk to AI. You have to know how to speak to it to get the best results. If something is not satisfactory, you tell it. But you got to know what you're talking about. In other words, if they see you know something about a topic, they give you more information. But they won't even talk about something if you don't bring it up. You see? You got to know when they're giving you wrong information. So what that means? It means best to do your own research and not use AI. Because you got to go back and double check them. So I don't use it as much anymore. I don't rely on this at all. I get back to read my encyclopedias. If you can't get encyclopedias before, if you can get an old set of encyclopedias before, let's say before 1975, you're going to find a lot of good information. Because about that time, maybe about the 70s, they started changing they started deleting a lot of knowledge out of the encyclopedias. But if you get one in the 60s, you can't find that information anywhere else. Now, reason why I reference the encyclopedias because these are people who are specialists. They spend their life on that topic, as opposed to somebody on YouTube or Google or Facebook. They have no references. Wikipedia. Who writes Wikipedia? The public write Wikipedia. They're not experts in any field. So when you have an encyclopedia resource, you're getting people who have studied this idea. They are classified as experts. Usually have PhDs. That don't make them right. They can be wrong as two left shoe. But the idea is that you're dealing with someone who has done their homework. So I'm telling you to do that because books will become very limited. You're not going to be able to even buy books, I say, within the next decade or two. Because the whole point is to keep people dumb, keep people ignorant. So you need to start building your own libraries for your children's sake. Start building your own libraries for your children and grandchildren. They'll be the wisest people around who read books. AI, man, them people who rely on AI, they're pretty dumb. The smartphone has made them dumb. Yeah. That's why they call it smart. Because only dumb people rely on it. They always say the opposite of what things really are. Well, that's my time. We'll talk again. Peace.